Welcome to Plum Fusion, month number 3, and we're working on blocks 5 and 6. Yay! So we're going to be halfway through our blocks when we do this, and we're getting very excited because what we learned this month is we have gotten all the techniques that we need to put these blocks together. We've already done them. So a lot of this is going to be review, but we all need review, trust me. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is do sets of flying geese. These are 4 at a time flying geese. You have your 5.5 inch square and your 3 1/8 inch squares. You're going to mark your center. You're going to sew on either side of that line, and then we're going to cut these apart. Ta-da! Using the center there. And then we are going to push these down, iron them down. We are going to add a 3rd square to each of these, 3rd square, and then this one is going to have a 4th square. You're going to mark your center, this one, sew on either side. You're going to cut them apart, and you have your geese. Now you're going to be making 4 of these. The first color is your 6 and fabric 1. Your second color is your fabric 2 and 7. What's going on? I'm in a video, Mom. It's okay. So we have flying geese. We're going to trim these up to 2.5 by 4.5. I'm going to show you using your square on a square trim tool. I find the center, I drop the center on that point, and then I trim the sides. I turn, I line up the point on the 1/4 inch and middle. I line up the side with the white 4.5, and I trim. Okay, you can also do this with your regular ruler. We get to do it, see, twice. I'm going to use my diagonal here on this seam point. I'm going to note that the point there falls on the 2.25 by 2.25, and I'm going to make sure that this point falls on the other seam at 4.5. That's my first cut. And then I'm going to turn it around, find my 4.5 by 2.5. Okay, so that's our review on our flying geese with both rulers. So we're going to take these and sew them together at the bottoms. So you're going to be making 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the first part of our block done. Yay! The next part of our block, we are going to take fabric number 2 and fabric number 10. These start off at 3.25 inches. You're going to mark your center. You're going to sew on either side. You're going to cut them apart and make 2 half square triangles. Now, when they are in this state, before ironing them open, that's when I do a lot of my trimming. I'm going to use my 8.5 inch by 8.5 inch trim tool. I'm going to line up the center and the diagonal right on my seam, and then I'm going to trim. This is 2 cuts to get the 2.5 inch by 2.5 inch square. Okay, so you're going to have 2 of these, a fabric 1 and a fabric 10, and we're making a flower. So before I sew these, I always lay them out, because I will invariably sew these 2 together that way and then these 2 together this way, and it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So I always lay these out in the 4 patch before I start sewing them together. Okay, so I'm going to sew this to here, this to here, and then I'm going to sew these two pieces together to form the flower, and you're going to make 4 of those. The center is one fussy cut 4.5 inch by 4.5 inch square. Now, we received a lot of this fabric in our last packet, so I will find the picot, the center, and I will put that on the middle of a rose, or where that rose is centered, and then I will cut, and then I kind of turn it around, figure out where that center is, or drop that into the 4.5 by 4.5 and recut the other 2 sides to get my fussy cut center. So we are doing pink to the inside, 2, 3, 4, and then we are doing our corners. 2, I have to count everyone. It's like I'm going to lose one of them or something. I don't know. 4. Okay. So this is again your modified 9 patch. You're going to sew these 2 together, these together, and then you're going to sew the rows together, and you have block number 5.